Business with a servant's heart. Servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Steve Ramona. Business with a servant heart. Servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text OPTIMIZE to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stever1961@gmail.com. That's stever1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with Servants Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm very excited because, I'm 64, and I said this last podcast I did. I'm kind of older, but when you're older, what I've learned is you learn so much. And my guest today is going to, please get your paper and pencil out or take notes, whatever way you do with a digital device. I don't care how you do it, because he's already given me before the show so many ideas and a great book that we're going to dive into to really change your life, to serve you, to impact you. He truly is a servant's heart. Let's bring our guest on. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. Wow, that's a wonderful welcome. Happy to be with you.
It's well-deserved. Like I said, we'll talk about some of these quotes, but let's dive into the book, because as I told you, I'm going to get the book right after the show, because but there's a brilliant way you've written it. Talk about that.
Sure. The book is called Mentor Minutes, because that's what I do now. I've been a professional speaker for 50 years, flying all over the world and giving speeches at conventions, 3,500 and counting. So I've had a lot of time coaching audiences, mentoring people, working as a consultant to businesses. And I was approached a few years ago by a client who said, I've got a radio broadcast and I want to put together a series of 1-minute messages from you, Jim. And I want to put them on radio stations all around the world. And I said, well, let's make it happen, Captain. And so I wrote 365 1-minute messages. And it covers every aspect of life: mental, physical, family, social, spiritual, career, financial, emotional, all of them. And I decided to approach it as if I were writing a life lessons manual for my grandkids and their grandkids, right? To pass along a legacy of what I felt I had gleaned from my 70 plus years in the world. And so I did that, recorded them, and made sure each one was only 1 minute long for the radio. And a few years later, after that show had gone off the air, I was approached by a publisher in San Diego who said, I want to make a book out of that. So I sent all the transcripts to him, and sure enough, he put together a book, and I added some more to it and created Mentor Minutes. Now, the subtitle is How to Reach the Top 1% of Any Field You Choose. You might think, well, how could you know how to do that? Well, the top 1% is one person out of 100, but it's also a greater number than that as you start to expand into an entire industry. So the top 1% is very doable for most people. Out of 100 people in a football stadium, every 100, pick one of those. At the end of the day, you've got hundreds of people that are in the top 1% of their respective categories. So how do you reach the top 1% of any field? Number one, pick a field. Because you can't say business and get to the top 1% intelligently, because it's too broad. You say, okay, in real estate, well, what aspect of real estate? Real estate development, real estate investment, real estate sales, commercial real estate, multifamily units, single dwellings, I mean, mortgages. So let's get specific. And the more specific you become, it's kind of like if you're looking at, I want to travel. Okay, where? West. Oh, pick a lane. Okay, I want to go west of Texas. All right, good. New Mexico? Could you, yeah, Albuquerque? All right. When? During the balloon festival, the hot air balloon festival. Now we're cooking. Now we've got something we can accomplish. We can tell when it's going to be, how long that'll be, how much money you're going to need, and da 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 da. Any field you choose, the more narrow you can make that lane, the more rapidly you can advance on it. Years ago, I was wandering from job to job. If you count everything I did, including mowing lawns as a kid, I had 40 jobs, 40 different jobs before I picked a lane. I'd been married for a while. I struggled through a couple of jobs that didn't lead me anywhere. I was a clerk at the Urban Renewal Agency in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I was overweight and out of shape, never achieved anything, didn't have a college degree or money or anything else. And I heard Earl Nightingale on the radio, like a show like listening to you. And he said that day in 1972, if you will spend 1 hour extra every day studying your chosen field, in 5 years, you'll be a national expert. That hit me like a train. I said, that works. Hour a day extra, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, 5 years, 1,250 hours. Even I could do that. Huh. What do I want to be an expert at? No clue. And then I realized a week or two later, I want to do what he does. So I decided to become this word is meant in a clinical sense, fanatical student of the field of human development. And when I say fanatical, I mean every day, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, entire weekends, buying books, getting records back in the day, and cassettes and CDs as things progressed technologically, and joined the Junior Chamber of Commerce, the JCs, and got hyper active in that civic club because they did leadership training. And so 400 meetings with them after work in a 2-year period, I pretty soon knew what the heck I was talking about in the field of human development. And first I was training other people's, leading other people's training courses. And then I developed some of my own material and I started giving speeches. Then I wrote a book and a co-authored book, and and it expanded. Now then 3,500 paid speeches all over the world, 28 books, president of the National Speakers Association, Speaker Hall of Fame, Sales and Marketing Hall of Fame, TED Talk with 3 million views. I mean, holy smokes. That's how you do it. You pick a lane and then you just start isolating the skills necessary to make you the kind of person that all the things you dream about would be your natural byproduct.
So I'm really speechless. I'm a talker and I'm blown away because you started at zero, like all of us started zero. You were looking and look where you are. Yeah. I got people asking me, can I be an expert in multiple niches? Is that something they should do? Is it a possibility?
Well, as long as they get one of them mastered big time first.
Yeah, okay.
See, that's the thing. It's like my son told me when he was in high school, graduating, he said, Dad, what should I major in at college? And I said, something you can spend. He said, what does that mean? I said, something that has commercial value, like major in marketing or economics or finance or something you could spend. So he majored in art history. I said, what? Why did you pick art history? He said, I thought it'd be easy. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Can't beat that.
Enough.
Yeah.
But he told me, he said, Dad, I don't really want a career in art history. What I want is a career in music. And I said, well, then everything you do from this day forward should be in the field of music. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, let's say you're broke and you've got to get a job. and you're willing to do anything, like sweep floors, clean toilets. Where should you sweep floors and clean toilets? A music store, a recording studio, something related to music, a high school auditorium. Just to make sure everything you do, if you're delivering goods, deliver goods for a musical instrument manufacturer. And so what'll happen is at first you're just a gopher and you're getting paid minimum wage. But who are you hanging around? People in the music business. What language do they speak? Music business language. So you'll learn the lingo. You'll learn to be fluent in talking about what they talk about and thinking about it in the right ways. You'll meet some people that are doing pretty well. If they like and admire you, they'll probably say, hey, we're doing a thing this weekend. You want to come? You can help out. And so you're a roadie and you're handling gear. But who are you handling gear for? Somebody that 10 years from now becomes the Eagles or the Beatles or the whatever, right? And you also learn to know who not to follow and who to follow. And you see the people that get into drugs and make all kinds of bad decisions. You see the people that do really well and everyone admires them. Who are you going to emulate? The one you want to be like. And so doors start opening year after year, and the more you're in it, and only in it, the more everything else works. Well, he didn't end up with a music career, although his son did. But he focused on the field of hospitality, went to work for the Four Seasons Hotels as a clerk, and then spent 26 years with them as a senior executive in human resources. And now he's general manager of a hotel on the beach in Santa Barbara, California. The previous general manager was the guy who hired him 26 years ago for the Four Seasons as a clerk.
Father like son. That is an incredible story. That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And so you're saying whatever you want to do to be an expert and get in that industry, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And just learn.
If you're willing to do pretty much anything, make sure that the anything is in a field you like.
Yeah. Passion. Yeah. The purpose and passion come in. Yeah. You're definitely passionate. I want to talk about CPE, Certified Professional Experts. There's nothing out there like it because I did search this morning. There's nothing.
Right.
What was the mission and thought and passion about that?
Well, I've been a member of the National Speakers Association, professional speakers, since 1976. And that was when they had like 200 members. And today they've got thousands of members and a global organization around the world. And so I came up through the ranks and I was, just in awe of all the big names back in the day. I mean, I got in when Zig Ziglar was new. And so I was there, and there were Zig Ziglar and Earl Nightingale and all these big name speakers. And I was standing nearby. And they said, hey, come on in. And they included me in their conversations at the conventions. And so I was able to move chairs and put up signs and take registration tickets and things like that to be involved long before I had the skills to do any leadership role. And then they elected me years later to the board of directors. And I served 10 years on the national board. During that time, I wrote the curriculum for their professional education program that's called Certified Speaking Professional. And I did 5 years of research and developed the program, and we installed it, and it's been ongoing ever since. So when I started looking at the transition from being a full-time speaker to being a full-time mentor who also speaks on the side, I thought, well, what's the field for a mentor? And I thought, well, it's the same as it is for consultants, same as it is for trainers, for authors, for speakers. What do these people have in common? They're all experts, and they're selling their expertise. They're not selling a product. They may have products, but that's not their business.
Yeah.
They're selling themselves at work, their expertise. And the more they build their reputation, the more they build their skill set, the more they build their integrity and their professionalism, the more they advance in that lane that they've chosen. So, what is that all the different lanes have in common? The people at the top are pros. They're true professionals. So I certify people. I use the same methodology I did for the certified speaking professional. I certify people as professionals in the promotion and application of their expertise. That's what a CPE is.
And what's the qualifications or requirements
Well,
to be
there's
part of
five
this?
five
Five things.
qualifiers.
Okay.
A profession, a professional, a person, it meets five criteria, and that's what I built the requirements for CPE around. One, they are highly educated for their particular niche. That doesn't mean they have a college degree, although it might, but it means they are well educated in this field. Number two, their education is lifelong, constantly renewed, never ending, right? Number three, what they do is done as a service to other people. Number four, what they do is done for pay. And number five, it's done according to a set of ethical standards. So if a person qualifies for CPE, then they can articulate what they've got going for them in all five of those categories. And they can go to my website, cathcart.com/CPE, and see all the details on that and see who
Beautiful.
the people's names are that have received it and so forth.
And audience, I suggest if you're interested, check it out. If you're not ready for the five requirements, build up to it like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, and that's
Start-
why I mentor people is to walk
Yeah.
them through the growth process over
Yeah.
a 6-month or a 12-month period based on what they want to accomplish.
And when you're an expert, your probabilities of being successful are extremely high. I never say 100%,
Yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
extremely high.
If you're a CPE, if you genuinely, I don't mean just have the label, but if you genuinely deserve that labeling, then people want to do business with you because they know you're going to be trustworthy, you're going to be reliable and committed to the outcome, not just say, well, I did my part. You know, people committed to the process are called bureaucrats. People committed to the outcome are called professionals.
That's a great distinction. I love that. Speaking side of it, you've done 3,500 amazing 3,500 speaking gigs that you got paid on, which
Yeah, paid
'cause
highly paid multi-thousand-dollar speaking engagements at
yeah,
conventions all over the world. Yeah.
and this, so you're an expert. Speaking of expert, I have a lot of speakers that come on my show, and I talk to a lot of mentors that want to speak. What's one or two pieces of advice you can give them?
Number one, go to free.cathcart.com and download my free book, What to Do When You're the Speaker. It's 54 lessons for speakers who are professional, meaning that they may not be a full-time paid speaker, but they do it as part of their business, and they're probably pretty comfortable in front of a group already. So I wrote it for people like you and me, not people that say, oh my gosh, you know, I'm afraid to speak.
Yeah.
Although one of the points I make in the first part of the book is that there is no such thing as a fear of public speaking. Now, I get lots of pushback on that. People say, wait, you don't know me. I am terrified of public speaking. No, you're not. Yes, I am. How could you know? Because I know that you speak in public all the time. When you're at dinner with the family and they say, hey, how was the Disneyland trip? You tell them. That's public speaking. When you're in a group and you see where the exit is and everybody's trying to leave, you say, hey, it's over here. That's public speaking. You speak in public all the time. You just don't think of it that way. Here's what you're afraid of: being judged.
So true.
It's judgment we fear, not speaking.
Yeah.
And the reason people get nervous on the stage is because they're not thinking about why they're there and who they're trying to help. They're thinking about themselves. So
Trying to be perfect.
that's a big life lesson right there. The less you think about yourself and think of the people you're serving, the more successful you'll be and the less fear and anxiety you'll have. Now, I didn't say the less you think of yourself. You should respect and admire yourself. You should be a person of integrity. And even if you haven't been up to now, you could be from now going forward. So do the things that help you respect you. Then you can stand more confidently in front of others to help them. But don't think about yourself when you're trying to do your work. Think with a servant's heart. Thank you very much. Think with a servant's heart as you deliver your service to them.
I usher at church. I just did it yesterday. And the crazy thing is, I'm speaking about, even though I love, obviously I have a podcast, so I public speak, but I'm public speaking and welcome to the church. Welcome. Have a great day. Yeah, you're in an elevator. You're talking to somebody. Audience, if you take that, I'm running with that because I'm going to help people with that. And then here's the crazy thing, Jim. It's the same thing in sales.
Mm-hmm.
You,
Totally. In
yeah,
sales, if you're thinking about you, you're going to blow this one. Yeah. Because
be
they're
a black
saying,
hole.
I could say, hey, Steve, how was that guy, Jim Cathcart, the salesperson? You know, he just talked about himself and his product. He never asked about me. He didn't. I told him some things. He never said them back to show that he understood. And it was all about him and what he wanted me to buy. So I said no.
You do those two things. You're speaking in public and sales this way. You can have massive growth,
Totally.
revenue wise, personally, across the board, right?
In 1985, I wrote the book Relationship Selling. That was the first time that term had been used broadly in the marketplace. So I championed that concept. And the whole idea is not be nice to people selling. That's Dale Carnegie. Uh, Relationship selling is considering that a relationship is an asset or a liability. If your relationship is with an assassin, probably a liability. If your relationship is with a person like Steve, it's probably an asset. And every relationship starts at the transaction level, good morning, and goes through stages all the way up to partners for life, right? So take every relationship you have or want and nurture it along that pathway as far as it's reasonable for that relationship to go. Because not every relationship will be a lifelong relationship, nor anything more than a couple of transactions in some cases. But you ought to treat them as if they were going to endure for decades and matter a lot to you later on. And that way you'll get the most out of the relationship at its early stages as well.
I talk about the people asset business all the time. When I keep, speak, people ask me to speak or mentoring. We're all dealing, and you said relationship asset, same thing. Build that people asset relation. Audience, please take this. If you need the manuscript for this or the transcription, always say it wrong, my transcript, and use AI to pull the quotes out, I would do that. I'm more welcome to send it to you because these are brilliant. Now I see why I knew you were an expert, but I guess you're proving it or showing us that you're an expert. We're coming to the end here, but what is 2026 and the future look like for CPE and Jim Cathcart?
Well, we've I established it in 2022, and just had a few people. I chose what I called my grade 8 that I didn't ask them to apply. I knew they were CPE qualified. And so I went to them and I bestowed the CPE on the grade 8, one of whom was Ivan Meisner of Business Networking International, BNI, and Tony Alessandra, one of the leading experts on personality types assessments, and Dennis Waitley and Brian Tracy and Les Brown are CPEs, and so some high-powered folks. Patricia Fripp. Anyhow, I established those grade 8, and then I started doing expert summits, a 3.5-day training program for people who were already qualified but not yet certified. And so I took them through that 3.5 day program in La Jolla and in Nashville and then Santa Barbara and Austin, Texas. And that grew the base. And then I got a lot of people applying from all over the country, all over the world, one from Malaysia, one from Australia.
Wow.
And so now there are 38. And in 2026, we're going to be certifying more people. I'll be mentoring a number of people. And anybody that's interested in that, they just go to cathcart.com and poke around. There are plenty of pages, lots of videos, free, lots of other things they can see. And if they want me as their mentor, they can get me free through my podcast for 1 month at a small rate, for 6 months at a lower monthly rate, and go the distance if they want, and put me on retainer. So it's an exciting time to be alive. I'm still playing guitar and singing whenever I get a
Look
chance.
at that. Yes.
And my wife and I played for like 8 years in California until not too long ago. Played under the band name, the two of us and my guitar. We played under the band name Resume the Boom, which
Love it.
means to relive the excitement of the baby boom era music, because we do music from that era.
Yeah.
And everything from Elvis to the Beatles, the Eagles, and all kinds of people in between.
And I love you're an expert in speaking in the CPE. That's your expertise. But you have these other, I don't want to call them hobbies, but things you do like play the guitar. That's what people understand. You could be an expert at this, but have all these other things that you do.
And that's an
Jump on
important thing. When it comes to guitar, I choose, you got to choose your level of aspiration. Do you want to be the world leader? You want to be the Tony Robbins in your field, or the Elon Musk or whoever? Well, good luck, because it's going to take every ounce of DNA you've got for as long as you live. So that's star level. I aspired with guitar to competent. I don't have to be excellent to where I blow people away with my talent. I just want to be good enough that they say, that was a great show. Thank you. Right. And that's why guitar has not been my career path. It's been my hobby. Right. My career path, I choose to be a leading authority, not star, because I don't want all that. I just want to be like Earl Nightingale, my mentor, one of the notable people that others follow. And so now I help people make that transition from competent to excellent to expert to leading authority to celebrity to star, depending on what their aspirations are.
And it's all customized to them. That's the beautiful thing. I love what you're doing. Oh my God. I knew you before, and
We
our
need
friend
to stay connected, you and me.
yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Let's end with this fun question. It's kind of an improv. So I'm going to reserve a restaurant at a table. Let's say it's the restaurant you went to, you mentioned before the show with John. We're going to go to that restaurant.
Okay.
What was that restaurant called?
Eddie V's it's a multi-location restaurant, but this one's in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so I got to check out Eddie V's. So I got a table there reserved. I want you, and I'll be sitting with you, but invite 3 people, and it's going to be hard for you, I know, who've been influential in your life, whether they're dead or alive. And then what food would you order for the table?
Well, I wouldn't care if we had popcorn for the table,
Yeah.
but I would invite Joe Willard, my mentor, who was the first client to hire me for an ongoing mentorship kind of a role, Mass Mutual Tulsa, Oklahoma agency. And Joe was general agent, and he brought 30-year-old me in and said, I'll give you a corner office. I want you here full time. I will pay you a monthly retainer because I've got 19 agents, and I want you to mentor them, help them with their goal setting, with their personal discipline and their personal growth. And I'll teach you, I'll send you the training to learn our company's sales course, and then you teach it to them. So I did that, and I was there for 5 years. And Joe and I are still close as brothers to this day. And so I would have him there at the table. I'd have Earl Nightingale, my intellectual mentor, there at the table. I would probably have for fun Zig Ziglar at the table because he was a good buddy. I knew him well, and he's funny as can be, and he speaks Southern, so that's good. And then the fourth one I would invite is Tony Alessandra, my best friend in the world, my former business partner, my co-author, and Tony will keep us in stitches for the whole dinner. And Tony thinks money. So anytime you show him, what do you think of this? He'll say, well, that's a margin of 2.3, and it was the other, blah, 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 blah. And he does all that without thinking. And then he slips back into comedian mode and it gets everybody laughing.
Man,
So thank you for booking that dinner. I can't wait to be there.
I've got to figure out a way to bring people back from the dead because I got to sit at that table. The notes I'd be taking, well, we'll worry about that later.
Okay.
Jim, again, God bless you. Thank you. You're successful, but you're giving back. I am working on that. It inspires me. I'm sure the audience. Being an expert allows me the abundance of just giving back and serving, and you've been doing it for years.
Let's just emphasize for everybody that giving back is the way to succeed. That doesn't mean not being paid. Sometimes you won't be paid, and that's okay. But the times that you ought to be paid, you should be paid. Why? Because you're worthy of your work. If you're offering value, you say, I just want to help people. Well, excuse me, but you better be pretty rich if you just want to help people and not get paid, because you're going to run out of the ability to deliver very soon. Yeah. So get wealthy as you help people, and you can help more and more people the further you go.
Where were you 20 years ago? Start it. I should have hired you 20 years ago. I've learned that now, but and I hear a lot of people say, I can't charge. I mean, I was talking to my aunt yesterday and can't charge for that much for cooking. Yes, you can, because of value. What's your audience? I hope you.
50 years ago, I did most of the things I did for less than a month's rent. And now I occasionally get paid for a 1-hour speech, what I paid retail for my first home.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's the ladder you've climbed. It's been beautiful. Success. It's great. Give out those websites again real quick so people can reach out.
My last name, Cathcart.
Cathcart.com.
And then you just poke around on all the links in there, and it'll take you to the videos. It'll take you to CPE or the mentorship or whatever you want.
So, Jim, you've inspired me, and we're going to end the show. We're over time, but it's well worth it, because this is what I'm going to do. Hey, audience, if you listen to this podcast and reach out to Jim or me, say you listen to I don't care if you're 5 minutes, 20 minutes. If you just took a look at this podcast, I'm going to send you Jim's book. Name of the book, the Mentor Minutes. Bring it up again just so they inspire them. I hope you stayed this long. Mentor Minutes. I will send 5 of you that book.
Wow.
On my
thank you very much.
Then there's the card, and I'll put the link in I'm sure it's in Amazon, all those places.
Yeah, it is.
Right. And you can scan that. And I want to do that because I'm inspired to give back like you are. So, no. And I know you're going to impact them. So it's selfishly, audience, me, as I talk about this, it also makes me, because I've impacted you. That's my whole goal in life. Your goal in life, impact people. So with that being said, thank you all. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because a guest like this, you could change somebody else's life, impact them, and change their life. To me, that's the truly gift of these podcasts that we can do. So go ahead and subscribe. If it resonates, go ahead and Jim's podcast. By the way, what's the name of your podcast so people can listen?
The Professional Experts Podcast.
Here we go.
Yep.
So go ahead and subscribe there and learn from us. That's what we're here for. We want you to learn, grow, and just be happy. So with that being said, me and Jim want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.